Jack, and hello, Alfie. First of all, I want to talk about last season at Ramsgate, how you got on, and what happened. So, what you think went wrong towards the end, missing out on where you got into pass but lost to Hive.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you think went wrong?
I don't think anything went wrong as such, because a lot of the games we were playing in, we drew too many games. I think is the main reason, really.
Yeah.
But it's not that we was playing horrendously. We were just conceding too many goals or giving away too many goals.
Yeah.
And we were having to claw back a draw rather than get ourselves ahead and still be in the game and then get a win. If you know what I mean?
Yeah. So it was almost like you had to score 3 or 4 to win the game.
Yeah, because we were conceding way too many goals towards the end of the season. We had way too many draws, and I think that's where we actually threw the league away rather than Chatham taking it.
Yeah, I think I watched a few towards the end, and when I speak to Ramsgate fans that go every week, they said they more or less saw it coming. Like you were just scraping wins, scraping draws, and they never felt 100% confident that you were going to win that playoff. It would have been lovely, of course, but I didn't see it. Did Hive deserve?
Hive played really well. Yeah. To be fair, they definitely gave absolutely everything they could have on the night.
Yeah.
But I think we done enough where we should have won the game. We just couldn't get the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, which is frustrating.
Yeah. And then there was just a few errors. I think, like you mentioned before, the keeper made a silly mistake, which ultimately led to a goal. And it becomes difficult from there on. When you're in a playoff, teams are giving 110%.
Yeah.
Although that's impossible, they seem to just give that bit more.
Yeah.
Too many free kicks, in dangerous areas when they just want to put it in the box.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
It's
just silly little errors that just led to.
Yeah,
ultimately what happened.
Yeah, because you was there and you watched it, didn't you? So it's from that perspective, from the crowd, it's different when you're on the pitch.
Yeah.
Do you think nerves came into it as well? Do you think if you've been in that situation before, you've been that close?
I've never been in playoffs myself, no. So, but personally, I thrive on it a little bit. I like to feel that pressure.
Yeah.
Because if it's not there, then you've not really got a lot to compete for.
You get too relaxed.
Yeah.
You're stuck in that little rut and you're just playing each week, just getting on with it instead of actually trying properly. Yeah.
I think that's where midway through the season, although we had the change in management, that wasn't anything to do with the fact that, because we didn't start losing when we changed manager or anything like that to Coyley. We was actually playing really well still and still scoring loads of goals, but we just got ourselves in such a rut where teams were finding it a bit too easy to score against us, and we couldn't figure it out, or we weren't sorting it out. I think that's where we sort of struggled towards the end of the season.
Was it a shock when they got rid of the manager?
Or at the end of the season?
Yeah,
or
midway. Who was it?
Steve Lovell.
Yeah, was it a shock when he went to you players, or did you know it was coming? Do you hear rumours that he's going?
No, I didn't hear any rumours or anything like that to say that he was going or he might be going or anything. Like I say, we were winning games, we were playing well. Although some games we'd win, we weren't winning convincingly or we weren't playing well, but we were still winning.
Yeah.
But I just think there was a string of games where it wasn't going well for us. We was drawing or we'd lost 1 or 2, and it just was looking a bit disjointed. And I think that's where the board just thought we need a change.
Need to deal with it now before it's too late.
Yeah. And we got to the playoffs. So although we didn't win them, it might have been the right decision or it might have been the wrong. You can't really say.
Did you overachieve last season, would you say? Or was you expected to get them playoffs?
In the change room, we expected to get playoffs.
Yeah.
Because we knew we had some great players. We had a really good team ethic. Everyone was so close and it just clicked really well, as it has this year. But yeah, we expected as players to get into the playoffs at the very least.
Right. Okay.
Obviously, from my perspective, on the outside looking in, there was quite a lot of people who thought that they did actually quite overachieve.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people did think that they were going to fall off earlier than they did. I wouldn't really say they didn't fall off because, like you say, they still made the playoffs. But yeah, people did think that they weren't going to be as successful as they were in the end.
Yeah, and was you expecting Coyle to take over when they got rid of Lovell? Obviously, because he's a player, isn't he?
Yeah. No, see, the training session that he come in and said, "Boys, I'm the manager." I wasn't actually there,
Right,
so
okay.
I didn't know until like the following game that Coyle had taken over, or it was the next training session. Sorry, and no one had really mentioned anything, or I didn't see anything announced. And then I turned up, and it was just I was just like, "What's going on?" But he brought a nice fresh change, and it was like he used his coaching that he does because he does coaching like with academy players and stuff like that, and it was like I say it was all nice and professional, and it was really really good. So him taking over was actually quite a nice thing.
How much did it change? Did the style change? Was there any rules that changed from Lovell to him?
I would say Lovell was a lot more laid back than Coyley was.
Okay.
He was a bit more chilled out, but it worked. We didn't play terribly or anything like that. It worked, and that was the style he used. And yeah, whereas Coyley was a bit more of a. It was strange because obviously Lovell was the professional player back in the day, but Coyley's approach to it was more professional,
Bit more modern.
a bit more modern, a bit more structured.
Yeah.
And they were just different, but both worked because we were winning with both of them. It was just for some reason, like I think when we got close to the playoffs, players started to maybe get a little bit nervous, a bit like, okay, we haven't been here before, or although some of them had.
Who do you feel you played better under yourself? Who did you feel better playing for?
So Lovell actually. So I'm not normally a centre midfielder.
Okay.
I used to play right back. I was a fullback. At all the other teams I played at.
Yeah.
And it was only in pre-season where Steve said, "Can you play in midfield?" I said, "Yeah," and he stuck me there, and I did really well. And I think it showed that the effect that I had in games, really worked. So I'd like to give him credit in respect of actually
Seeing
putting
that.
me in midfield and seeing that. Yeah. I don't think I can say who I played better under because every game I played, I tried to play my best.
Did you play same position under Coyle?
Yeah.
Did he play centre mid?
Yeah.
Where do you want to play, say, this season, or are you playing centre mid and that's it?
I would like to play in centre mid this season as well.
Yeah.
However, I like to play.
Yeah.
So if I'm not going to play in centre mid, then out wide, be it a wing back or a winger, I'm happy.
Yeah.
So long as I get regular time, because I just like playing. I don't like sitting on the sidelines because when I'm on the sidelines, I look at it and I'm like, I can affect it here, I can affect it there, and I just want to be able to do something.
Yeah, and you're not young anymore.
No.
Like you expect not to get hours.
Feels so weird, Sam.
Yeah, you don't expect to get loads of minutes when you're 18, 19, but you're not anymore. You're 25, so you do want to be playing all the time, don't you? Well, it's your peak almost. You're not far from your peak.
Played a lot of games at senior football. We both started playing men's football first team at 16 for Ramsgate. So we in that time, like 9 years, we've played a lot of football.
Got a lot of experience for your age, really.
Yeah.
Going into this season, they've signed a hell of a lot of players, haven't they? And obviously unloaded quite a lot of players. Do you find it hard is it hard to gel when you're bringing that many players in? Or is it just clicking straight away? Or are you looking at it going, this is hard getting so many, it's like a whole new squad, isn't it?
Well, yeah, there's only me and TJ left from last year.
Yeah.
So it is essentially a whole new squad.
Which is unheard of, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think to be fair, first I felt quite comfortable even in the first session with all the new boys. Obviously, I know a few, but the majority of the squad that I'd never really met before or anything, everyone sort of just clicked quite good, quite nicely.
And did you come from Deal?
No, Dover.
Dover.
Yeah, I come with,
so how did that happen?
Well, obviously the season we had at Dover last year wasn't great. It was a season to write off, really.
What happened? Why wasn't it great? I've been asked to ask you that, actually.
By who?
I won't say.
It was, I don't know, it was one of those seasons where we had the players. We had like we had the ingredients, we had the players to do well. Top half the table team, you know, that kind of thing. Lots of experience and ability, but it was just something wasn't going right.
As a club or on the pitch or just everything?
I would say both.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it does start from the club.
Yeah.
Like, in my opinion, I feel like something does need to be changed or done there to try and, you know, it almost needs like a full reset.
Yeah.
Because
there's potential there for it to be a really good club.
I mean, you don't go from a National League side down to like a Ryman side, which seems to be where they're heading.
Yeah.
Like in the space of 3 years.
There have been a Conference National League South or Prem side for such a long time.
Yeah. I mean, since we've been there, they've been Conference South, and they obviously got promoted because when we went to the academy, and that's how we got our first steps into like the first team at Dover and stuff like that. And it was, I feel like it started just after COVID. Decisions that were made, obviously, that ultimately led to them being relegated. I think it sort of just spiraled on from then. So I think things do need to be changed, like within the club, not just obviously on the pitch and that kind of thing, to maybe see some potential growth.
Yeah,
at a club that should be doing better than it is.
Yeah. So what happened? Does Ben call you when they want to sign you, or did the Ramsgate club call you? What happened?
So how did your transfer come about? Talk through the story of how your transfer came about.
So to be fair, it was Ben did call me, but I've spoken to and knew James before that anyway. I was quite friendly with James, obviously Jack being there, and I've been to a few games when I haven't had a game, that kind of thing, to obviously come support him. So obviously, no, James has wanted to try and get me there for a while, obviously, to play, and with knowing what Jack's like, he really wanted to try and he really liked Jack, so he was like, "Well, I want to see what his brother's like." He obviously, if he's as good as Jack, then I kind of want a bit of that as well. And so I knew.
Who is better?
We'll wait till the season.
But so I knew that there's obviously a potential phone call coming.
Yeah. Did you want the call?
Yeah. But I was happy. I knew I wasn't gonna stay at Dover.
Yeah.
For another season, just because I could see where it was heading.
Yeah.
And obviously with stuff that we knew that they couldn't do for us as players, it wasn't a great place for us to stay.
You've got to be selfish in them situations, haven't you? You've just got to think about yourself. You have. Because
obviously it's a massive commitment to play in the conference. Just because, one of the reasons obviously being travel.
Yeah.
You've got to go a long way to some places, and sometimes if it doesn't feel beneficial for you, whether it's as a player, obviously if you're not playing, or if you don't feel like you're getting paid enough because obviously the amount of time you're taking out of your day or week to get there.
People don't think of that, do they?
No, because at the end of the day, it is still a job. Although, yes, we're all doing it because we love it. The majority of us are obviously doing it because we love it and that kind of thing. Yeah. You still need to feel like
you're compensated.
Yeah, or you're worth it.
Especially if you're playing, if at full time. If the club is working on a full time schedule, then players ultimately want to be paid a full time wage.
Of course,
because
although we weren't considered full time as such last year, we were training 3 mornings a week.
That was one of my questions. How often do you train, and how intense is it, and things like that?
It was 3 mornings a week for us training, and then obviously a game. If we had a game on a Tuesday, we wouldn't train that day. But 4 days out of your week, you're playing football.
So you've got to be self-employed, really, otherwise it won't work.
It makes it very difficult.
Or you're doing really small part-time work.
Whereas when you're at the lower ends of non-league football, for example, at the Ramsgates, the Margates, and the leagues below, you can work alongside it because.
When do they train? How often do Ramsgate train?
So we'll train twice a week.
It's looking like twice a week, Tuesday, Thursday in the evening. You still
at Southwood.
Yeah.
I don't know
at the minute it's at Southwood, but some like last season, we trained at Southwood and we trained up in Ruton, just because it just makes it, it's a bit more central to everyone. Although living down this way, I preferred it when it was at Southwood. It's quite nice. Yeah. But it's one of those. Yeah, if you're training 3 or 4 times a week in the day as well, then things like that you have got to think about. So I think moving is.
Are you happy with your decision? Do you find it totally?
It's exactly why I went. I mean, there was like a few places that I could have potentially gone to. I had offers and obviously ultimately one of the main reasons was because I wanted to come and play with my brother for a season. And it was obviously off the back of what happened last year in terms of it was a season that I didn't enjoy my football. Although I played week in, week out, it felt like a slog every time. Like we just always felt
become a chore.
Yeah, we always felt like we were just up against it.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm not trying to play a victim.
No, I know what you mean.
It just felt horrible. You're like, oh.
It's a totally different feeling now.
Like, I mean, the boys, everyone was good laugh, all the boys were great and everything. But it did just feel like we were always just up against it.
But they probably feel exactly the same as you, don't they?
And so, it was just one of those where I was like, I really want to just go and enjoy my football. Whether that is at Ramsgate or elsewhere, that kind of thing. That was one of my sole decisions that I had to think about. And then I was like, I think that's where I'm going to enjoy my football the most this year. Yeah.
So then Ben called you.
Yeah.
And how did that go?
That was the first time I've ever spoken to Ben or anything like he'd ever had any contact. And the first phone call was, I mean, I sort of judge it on that, how I can like communicate with someone.
Yeah.
I'm like, it felt really easy.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, that's a good sign. Obviously straight away. So I was like, see how it progresses and that kind of thing. Then,
so he rings you up. What does he say? What position he wants you to play? What the plan is?
Yeah. He just sort of his plan. Well, he sort of gave me his background in terms of what happened with him and stuff like that, and then his plan going forward with Ramsgate, where he sees me in that and that kind of thing. And obviously, it ticked a lot of boxes for me. So
I find as well with Ramsgate squad, it's very it's not full of youth. It's not full of old players. It's like there's a right mixture, isn't there?
There is at the minute, yeah, definitely. Especially when they during pre-season, they've been bringing a lot of the 23s along with us, and they've been getting game time as well and playing well. To be fair, so
do a couple of them stand out to you?
What, within the team?
In the under 23s when they play for the first team, do any of them you think, yeah, you're nearly there or are there?
Well, yeah. So we got obviously. I know Louis. He's not a part of the 23 squad. He's actually really a part of our squad.
He come from Margate, didn't he?
Yeah, Margate 23s.
Yeah. And but he's 16, and he's been playing really well. He's got trial over at Brentford at the minute, I think.
Yes, I did see that.
That goes to show.
So what will happen there? He obviously won't play for Ramsgate then. If he gets into Brentford,
if he gets into Brentford, he'll go over there.
Well, you're not going to turn it down, are you?
It'd be a shame.
No. Let's be honest.
At 16, you've got to take that chance because you've got a lot of time.
You can always fall back on Ramsgate, can't you, if he needs to. So
it's one of this it's just even if you don't make it through, it's a great experience and it's something that you can use to obviously help yourself in terms of going other places.
Yeah.
You know, I've got to try Brentford. Blah blah blah. And
Ben spoke highly of him when he came on the podcast. He actually mentioned his name, didn't he?
Yeah, he's very mature for 16 as well. He speaks to all of the players and stuff like that. He doesn't shy away. He is quite open, and it's quite nice to see. A bit different to some 16, like some of the 23s are quite quiet when they come along, which is it's understandable because when you come into the first team, he's
a quiet lad, isn't he? Leo Todd, he's quiet lad.
Leo Todd, which one's
Centre?
Oh yeah.
He's decent, but
he's quite big boy, isn't he? Yeah, and you'd think he'd be quite big and boisterous, but he is quite timid. Or he comes across that way when he comes with us. And I don't think I've heard him say words.
When he came on against Minster for us, I played alongside. I had to fill in at left back,
right?
And he came on for a bit and sat next to me. I was trying to get him to speak, just like say whatever you want. Doesn't matter. You're not going to say anything like that. You can't say anything wrong.
Yeah.
Like just be vocal, let people hear you. Because I mean, as a young player, that's the best thing you can do to one, let everyone know that you're there, and two, feel confident in yourself.
Yeah, and
gives you a sense of
if
confidence.
you stay quiet, the other team will soon pick up on it, won't they? And then they'll target you. But he's a big lad; he can look after himself.
Well, you hear it a lot with players like that. You know, when they shout at players, "Oh, he doesn't want it. He doesn't want it." Like, he's not up for it, and all that sort of stuff. And then that's when you get picked on. I think when you get targeted.
Teams do that. I mean, we kind of did that yesterday in the game against Lewis. We sort of isolated one defender, one centre half, and was like, "All right, just let him have it, and then just play off that." We know what he wants to do with the ball. As soon as he gets it, we know he wants to just shell it over our right back's head or like try and throw on the front man. It's just that's our target, that's our trigger. Like, as soon as he does that, that's when we go. Yeah. So teams do it, and it worked for us yesterday. Yeah. So it was one of those things.
How did the game go yesterday? Because weren't there rumours it might be called off because of the weather?
I don't know.
Was it touch and go?
It was raining a hell of a lot on the way there, and I was like, please just have a break in the rain while we play, because it's horrible just to play in rain. But yeah, it stopped and started, but it weren't too bad. The pitch was in pretty good condition. The grass was long, which probably made it a lot better. Yeah, because if it was
hold the ball up a little bit,
so the ball didn't zip off the pitch. But the game itself, it was really good. Like the first 20 minutes, 25 minutes, it was really close. Like we could have scored a few times with a number of your crosses.
I'd say we had the chances.
They just nicked
starting off, and then, but they did really well, to be fair, to like get bodies in the box and just block every shot we had. To be fair, we didn't really test the keeper apart from a few times because it just wasn't getting through. And then obviously there was just a little bit of a miss out. We couldn't clear the ball in time, and they go 1-0 up.
It just comes from not even being broken down as a team. It come from
I felt comfortable.
The inability to just get the ball away.
Yeah,
I think, and that'll come with.
But is that coaching? Was it a case of he wanted to play it out from the back?
No,
he's told to do that, or
we did want cross.
To. Okay,
so it came from the cross, and the header or the shot, and initially got blocked, and the first clearance wasn't far enough. It didn't go long enough, and then the ball come back in, and then they got the goal. Yeah. But that just comes from working on it and stuff like that. Same with us taking our chances. It's pre-season.
I was just about to say that it's pre-season.
Can't expect that,
but we have still scored goals. Like
something would work on.
It would be a worry if we weren't getting the chances. Obviously, goals will come as we get more warmer sort of thing. But if we weren't getting the chances, I would then be worried. But it's the fact that, Ben said it before. He said there's a hat trick in the game for someone in every game at the minute. Like we're getting people in front of goal consistently.
Moving on with that, I'm guessing obviously with a new transfer that's just come in
from Lewis, from who they played against,
is going to hopefully provide you with that hat trick each week.
Yeah, that is one thing.
He'll offer you something different to what Green can offer as well, because he's big and he's giant.
Yeah, he's very good at holding the ball up. His feet, he's got really good feet as well. He's quite intricate. So,
for his size,
and he can.
He can finish as well.
He's someone you look at when you're struggling in a game. He'll find a goal out of nothing. That's.
Was he at the game this day?
I didn't. No, I don't think so.
I don't think he was there. No. He wasn't. I don't think he was in their squad, so he won't play. So
I think it would have. I think he said it'd have been weird for him to go to a game sort of still under Lewis as a player.
Yeah.
To support.
While he's in negotiations. I suppose.
So. Yeah, I don't think he was there, but
I didn't see him.
You didn't see Jai?
No, I didn't see him there.
Okay. Have you got any questions?
Where do you think you can go one better this season from last season? Do you think you can get promotion or even win the league?
Yes,
I would say. Yeah. I think that is our only goal really, is to win the league. Like anything less than that, it's not a failure, but that is our goal. Like we're not looking for playoffs, we're looking to win it. So I think bringing the players in, like Joe now, that's what we're setting.
That's a statement, isn't it?
That's what we're setting. We're not here just to get through.
Is that something? Is that an area where you thought last season could have done you better if you'd have had someone like Joe? Would have changed the end of last season, do you reckon?
Your striker done all right last year, didn't he?
Yeah, we brought Rowan in.
Yeah.
Rowan come in, I'm not sure at what stage in the season, I can't quite remember. But he come in and he didn't start off too hot. He didn't score a lot of goals. But then all of a sudden he just banged like 8 goals in like 2 or 3 games.
Yeah.
And he started scoring a bit more from there on. But yeah, he didn't do too bad. But what we need this season, I think, is a striker that can score 20 goals. Because a lot of our goals last year come from all over the pitch, which, although that's brilliant, you want your striker scoring
number 9, didn't you? That's
the majority of those goals. Yeah. Especially as they're the ones in front of goal the most.
Yeah. Like even on a bigger level, Arsenal is exactly the same. We scored so many goals last year from all over the place.
Yeah.
We didn't have that one striker that scored 25, but Saka was scoring, everyone was scoring. But City had Haaland.
Yeah.
And that's it. That one of the
You need
league.
that person who, like you said, someone's able to get a hat-trick every game. You need someone who you can sort of rely on to get you 2 goals in a game.
Yeah.
And
if
then
our
you see
strikers can
if
score
the right back
50,
fills in.
Yeah.
You'll be all right.
We'll be all right.
What formation do Ramsgate tend to use? Do they have a formation that you use most weeks, or does it change every week?
We've been playing a 4-3-3 pretty consistently.
Yeah.
But I think within the squad we've got players where we can play a 3-5-2, or we can mix it up like with a boxing midfield or something like that. Because we have got quite a few midfielders this year so far.
Well, I'm thinking how you'd accommodate Joe and is it Jordan Gray?
Jordan's been playing out wide now.
It's been Jack.
Initially he was playing through the centre.
That's where I've seen him play.
But he wasn't really getting much success or the best out of him, and he's gone out wide, really where he needs to be. And he's been playing a lot better, being able to just get the ball at his feet and beat players. But yeah, we've got Jav. Splatty is his nickname.
Right.
Don't know why it's Splatty. But
there's no story to that.
not that I've heard of. But yeah, we got him. He's been our focus point up front in a minute. He's been alright. He's been scoring some goals. Scored at Lewis from your little cutback. Now you've got him and Joe in there just to compete with each other, or potentially play 2 together in the 3-5-2.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking, them 2 together. But that's when I was thinking that he was
that's
still
where,
playing up front.
That's where I would say Jordan would be quite good as a striker. Was if
With
he's
Joe next to
alongside
him.
someone he can play off of.
Exactly.
Because then he's not the man who's being looked to hold the ball up against 2 defenders who are most likely going to be taller and bigger than him.
You see, I've always said with football, you've got to play with 2 strikers at minimum. You can't. I don't think you can play with one.
If you play with one, it has to be someone like Joe.
Yeah.
He's the only. That's the only type of player. You can't put. It is Jordan, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can't put Jordan up there on his own, really, because he's small, isn't he?
Yeah.
You need a Joe Taylor.
That's where I think he was struggling a lot. Is where the centre halves were just doubling up on him, and they were at this level of football. Centre halves tend to be just big lumps that can head the ball. And that's what they were doing. They were just eating him up and just coming over the top and just clattering him, really. And it was frustrating because you couldn't get the best out of him that way.
Yeah.
But like I say, if he partnered up with someone like Joe or Jav, then it becomes a lot easier because you've got someone to play off.
Yeah.
It does create a lot of competition, obviously,
which is good in football.
Yeah, because it means players will have to play for their place every week. No one can really get comfortable.
Can't rest on your laurels, can you?
So it is obviously it's a good thing because you're bringing goals into the team, but it will also help and put a rocket up people's arse sort of thing to be like, oh, okay, all right, I need to actually.
Yeah, because I think from last season there was a few players that were very comfortable and they knew they could have a couple of bad games and they're still going to start. It's not going to be like that anymore, is it?
No, because there's a lot of although we've got quite a small squad, there's a lot of people who can play in
different positions,
a variety of positions. Yeah. So it's not like there's no one left wing, so I'm good. There's someone in the team who can play left wing, like centre forward, right wing, strike. Like all of us in that front line can sort of play in every position.
Yeah.
Whether it's better than everyone, like it's
handy.
We can all do a job in each position, so
which is ideal for Ben as well.
Yeah,
it's good to be diverse like that.
Yeah, it does obviously sometimes make his job hard.
Yeah.
Because ultimately you are going to let someone down. But that is the good thing. I think this year's, I've noticed there is competition for places. People are going to have to just work their hardest in every game.
Talking about Ben, what type of manager is he? Is he calm? Does he get angry in the change room if you're not playing well? Or does he always stay calm? Because every manager's different, isn't they?
So, I mean, his take this pre-season, he's been very calm, relaxed, laid back, and not taking a step back, but he's taken more of like an approach where he's just watching, seeing things develop, and doing things a little bit more quietly. But like you said, for the last few training sessions, he's started to get a bit more involved,
closer to the season.
Put his mark on it,
which is what I said. I think it's like it's business time sort of thing. He's stepping in. He's like becoming more of a focal point sort of thing. He's the one who's leading sessions and that kind of thing, and obviously the coaching staff's doing it with him. More like I said before, previous weeks he has sort of. He's been around, but he's sort of been reading what's happening, seeing it. I think almost like letting everyone sort of
just play football,
play together, gel, let the team develop, as opposed to guiding.
Yeah.
There's also a point where he's settling into the squad as well.
Yeah,
as well as all the new players settling in.
Yeah.
So I can see why he did that.
There's only really been one time where he sort of gotten angry sort of thing.
Was that at Hastings?
No, it was it was against Minster.
Oh, okay.
But that was a game where I think people just got again too relaxed. They thought, it's only Minster.
Yeah.
But I mean, that shocked us. They went 1-0 up. Whether it's a penalty or not, they got into the box, got a chance shot, and ref gave a penalty for a handball. But it came from mistakes that we created in ourselves because people just got too relaxed and took advantage of, we're better than them, so we can just sort of take it easy, which obviously ended up not being the case.
Yeah, I watched that game. I think you didn't find it as comfortable as what I think they thought they would.
They came out quickly and pressed hard, and then ultimately, and they obviously fitness came into play and that kind of thing. But that's when the only time I've seen him at this pre-season where he's
it'd be interesting to see if he does change, how much he changes when that season kicks off, because he's going to be under pressure because of the amount of players he's brought in,
of course.
What's expected from Ramsgate, and new players must be under pressure as well. You've gone from a team where, like you said earlier, it feels like just a chore playing because it just weren't going right for the team, but now you've joined a team and there's quite a lot of pressure on you. Do you feel the pressure? Do you feel the pressure? Because all the Ramsgate fans obviously just want you to win that league. You know it's expected. Do you feel that or not?
Not really, to be honest. Because, like I say, with the fans, the fans obviously want us to win the league and stuff like that. But when you're on the pitch and after the game, you're clapping the fans saying, thanks for coming, thanks for the support and stuff like that. Even after our loss in the playoffs last year, they were all supportive and upbeat, and none of them were like, you should have won it. Or they're like, they had our back still.
Yeah.
And that's why I think they don't put as much pressure on us as we put on ourselves to win the league.
That was also another sort of, obviously me going to a few games, that was another thing where I was like, it's actually quite a nice club to be around right now. Like, you can sort of see it's growing. I mean, he's also talking about community and that kind of thing. You can see it is growing as a community.
They're growing massively.
And it did feel really quite comfortable being there, and just it gave you a good sense, like good vibe, that kind of thing. And
there is definitely good vibes around.
I wanted to sort of be there, just because if you if you're not happy where you're working, then
you're going to move, isn't it?
Yeah, why would you work there?
Yeah.
So are you saying you're going to win the league this year?
I'm saying we're going to win the league.
Yeah. If we move on now just to general football, we've spoken enough about Ramsgate. Obviously, we spoke earlier about Kane maybe leaving Tottenham to Bayern Munich. You mentioned PSG, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I saw something, but if you've not heard anything, then I think it's just someone creating a little bit of a stir.
We see
Is that person you?
Yeah. Well, we saw loads of that, didn't we? With
you heard it here.
Mbappe being linked with Liverpool. That was just all complete rumours, made up videos.
And I saw another thing about he's open to talk to Chelsea and stuff like
Who? Mbappe?
Yeah.
And
Well,
he's one of the many players that is meant to be going to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
I saw something there where he was meant to be going to Saudi Arabia on something like £700 million a year.
For the year, for 1 year, yeah.
It's just one of those things that in football,
It works
transfer
out.
news just goes crazy.
That contract, he didn't deny it, but he didn't want to go. He doesn't want to go, did it? Obviously, PSG accepted the bid, but he doesn't want to go out there. Even though it's
Well, they're going to accept a £269 million bid, aren't
Yeah.
they? They're not going to turn that down.
But that contract, it said if he was to drop £20 on the floor, it would cost him to pick it up.
Yeah,
How crazy is that?
Mad,
But I think with him, he's so close. We've mentioned it before. He's so close to beating the Premier League all-time top goal scorer record. Why would you get that close and then leave to go to Germany?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you just stay in the Prem?
Yeah, but he wanted a trophy, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think he's got to weigh both options up. Does he go his whole career
He
without winning a trophy?
He will be the best ever player to not win a trophy if he doesn't win a trophy.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it? I can't think of a better player that hasn't won a trophy in his career.
But where? I mean, you're going to say Arsenal, but like, where would he go in the Premier League?
He'd never go to Arsenal.
No.
Because of
I don't think
I don't think he'd go to
he'd be
another
an
club.
Arsenal player, though.
He was at Arsenal as a kid, wasn't he?
Yeah,
and that's
I don't
why.
think he'd suit Arsenal.
United.
For me,
It's only United.
just because he's that big man. I mean, he can spray the ball about and drop into like more of a 10 role,
Which he's starting to do as he gets older.
Does,
yeah.
He does drop back in a lot.
Mm.
But before Haaland even went to City, there was talks about him potentially going to City.
Yeah.
And I feel like if Haaland didn't, then he may have.
That would have worked. Yeah.
Because, like I say, he's just as good as a goal scorer. Haaland's probably a bit more mobile than Harry Kane, but
Someone said if you put him in that City team, he'll get the same amount of goals.
He
as
probably
Haaland.
would. He probably would. They'll still get the chances,
well,
wouldn't he?
he gets a chance. He's not going to miss those chances, is
I
he?
think
Like,
Haaland said that himself. Like he credits a lot of the goals he scored to the team around him because the service he gets is just exceptional.
Yeah.
well, a lot of the goals. I mean, I think at Munich, obviously, I didn't watch a lot of Munich. Munich. What about Dortmund?
Yeah.
A lot of Dortmund games, like he probably created a lot more goals than he does now for himself.
Yeah.
Like at City, they're putting it on the plate for him. In the box.
Literally. Yeah.
Like he's picking up scraps, and he's in the right place. I mean, that's down to him being a great striker. But
But he's got everything.
Yeah.
He's tall. He's so fast.
Powerful.
He's strong. He's powerful. He can finish. He's got everything apart from looks.
Yeah.
It's the only thing he hasn't.
Great hair.
Great hair. Yeah.
But it's like at City, it's like whether you put Kane, him, or Joe there. Like if it's the same sort of if you're putting a striker in 6 yards out and you're putting it on his head or his foot, if he's not in the target or if he's not, you should put it in the goal.
Yeah.
But I mean, he still creates his own chances, that kind of thing. But like, I don't think, like you say, don't matter whether it was Kane or if it was Haaland, they're both getting 30, 40 goals for Man City.
100. Yeah. What did Haaland get? 52.
52 in
all
total. I think it
competitions,
was
that is
36 in the Premier League, wasn't it? I think.
Wasn't it like 20 goals in 13 appearances in the Premier League?
Yeah, he started the season really.
He scored
well.
3 hat-tricks in a row, didn't he?
Yeah, he scored ridiculous. Everyone was like, he's going to break 50. He's definitely, and then he sort of dropped off, didn't he?
I think he broke a record and then broke that record again the following week or something. Yeah, I think it might have been that hat trick thing. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, was it some players who got 2 hat tricks in a row?
Yeah.
In 2 games, and then he got 3.
That's it. So,
he scored 2 in 1 week, didn't he? 2 hat tricks in 1 week, and then
he saw 1 in the Champions League, didn't he? And then 1 in the Premier League as well.
I don't know much about this player. I don't know if you do. That Kudus from Ajax. Arsenal were heavily linked with him. Do you know?
Kudus.
He was heavily linked with Arsenal, but he's just agreed personal terms with Brighton and they've agreed a fee as well. And he's meant to be really good. We were linked with him. I didn't know if you know.
Actually, I think I've heard something about that with Arsenal. I did hear something about that because when someone, I think it might have been Cameron, I can't remember. Someone mentioned it, and I was like, "Who is this player?"
I've not heard of him.
But Arsenal do get linked with like some weird gems, and Liverpool too. Liverpool are quite like that. They get linked with gems that you haven't really heard of.
They make stars. They don't buy them.
Yeah,
it was like that's what I mean. It was like with Coutinho for Liverpool. No one really knew much about Coutinho before he came, and they only paid something like 9 million for him.
Then all of a sudden he started
sold him. What did you say for 108?
I think it was 150.
I saw some of this with Barcelona when they they bought Griezmann, Dembele, and Coutinho. It was like for 400 million euros, and then they sold them all for about, I think it was like 90 million.
Yeah,
Like
that is bad business.
yeah,
yeah, it's really bad. But they ended up, they had to pay out again, didn't they? When he won the champion, I think did he win the Champions League with Bayern?
Who, Coutinho?
Coutinho.
Possibly.
I think he might have won the Champions League with Bayern. I think Barcelona had to pay out for that to Liverpool because he was still on loan, but so he was technically under the books of Barcelona or something
Barcelona,
like. They're in an absolute rut, aren't they? But how they're still
I'm surprised Gundogan
doing
went
it.
there, to be fair.
Money.
That was a free transfer, wasn't it?
I was like, just because, like you say, it's an absolute mess. Like,
if you're going from England, where the weather's crap, you just won everything.
Yes, in Manchester as well.
And now you're going to Barcelona and playing in the sun.
Well, you can do what all the Barcelona boys have done and gone to Miami.
Yeah, into Miami, the old school Barca squad, Busquets and Messi.
Which I have been sort of keeping up with a little bit because
I'm a
Messi man.
I'm a Messi man, 100% all day.
So, like, yeah, I've been. I mean,
he only needs 28 more goals to be their all-time top goal scorer, doesn't he?
Does he?
Yeah.
They've only been going a few years.
Yeah.
I think
it's only their second season.
He scored he scored, what was it, like 5 goals in like an hour's worth of gameplay already. Sort of
thing. Really?
Something like that. I mean, he scored.
I saw that free kick.
I mean, he's playing in the MLS though.
So was that in his first? Was that his first game?
He's still so good.
That free kick, was that his first? In his
his
first
first
game?
game. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
90th minute at a time.
What about David Raya? Obviously linked with Arsenal, Brentford's goalkeeper.
Oh,
Do you need another
I don't think you need another goalkeeper, and I think you can spend that money elsewhere.
See, as an Arsenal fan, I think we do need another goalkeeper.
Well, you don't think you should go out and buy a striker?
Oh, we definitely need a striker, but
Instead
you've
of a goalkeeper.
got to remember we're in the Champions League as well now, again, for the first time in years. You need 2 good goalkeepers, and Ramsdale, towards the end of last season, fell off. Pre-season, I've been watching their games against United. He was absolutely terrible. He's making a lot of mistakes, but then he's come out.
So he's got an error in every game I've watched. He's done something
weird.
weird.
And there's a few goals he's let in, you're like, how's that gone in? But he's now publicly come out and said about his wife having a miscarriage. I don't know if you read that.
No.
He went on a holiday with his wife, and on the plane on the way home, she had a miscarriage.
Wow.
And he said that messed him up to the point where even though we were pushing for the title, Arteta rung him and went, look, if you want time off, you can have time off. And he decided not to. But it was about at that time, from what I've read, of when he started dropping off. But now I know that it all adds up as to when he started falling off.
Yeah.
It adds up. That's when she had that miscarriage, which obviously is a shame. But it's pre-season now, and he's still making howlers.
Yeah.
Like Fernandes had a shot from outside the box, daisy cutter along the floor, easy. He dived down and it fumbled over him. Every goal kick before that was going out for throw-ins, and you just sort of knew he's going to be terrible today, and then you let that goal in. So I think David Raya would be a good signing.
Oh, he's a good goalkeeper, definitely.
Especially when you've got international league and stuff like that. If he goes out, you need someone else who can fill in and be as good as or better than.
How many goalkeepers have Ramsgate got?
At the minute,
Or just Tom as a first team keeper, and then we've got like 23 as the young boys and that.
Right, okay.
Yeah. We've got Arch Simmons, who come on yesterday. We got him. He was with us a lot last year as well.
Is he under 23s?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah. He's good. He's a good lad as well. Like another one of the 23s that is featuring and coming along and training with us regularly. As a first team player, we have only got Tom Haller, but like I say, it's a very good keep to have.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So obviously Arsenal won Community Shield today, and I don't think people will believe me when I say this. I'm not too bothered about it. No, not really.
I'm so happy, mate.
This against City.
What? Yeah,
happy.
Against City. I mean, obviously, I'm well happy we won, but it is a Community Shield, and if we lost, it wouldn't have bothered me. Do you know what I mean? As much as I want my team to win every game, it is a pre-season friendly, isn't it? It's a bit of a.
Trophy's a trophy, though, mate.
Yeah, I know.
Well, it's a shield, not a trophy.
Yeah.
When you come into the season and they
just beating league winners,
they play Man City again. They've got that over them now.
Exactly.
It sets the standard as well for the season.
Yeah. Did you watch the game?
No, I didn't.
You don't watch football.
I don't think City even look that good.
I was golfing.
Yeah. But they've got a new rule in football, which I love, by the way, because I kept speaking about it on the podcast last year, about the time wasting. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
Any time wasting gets added on at the end. So like, I don't know if you noticed it in the World Cup.
Yeah.
There's like 8 to 11, sometimes 15 minutes.
I didn't like the fact that there was so much added time.
It did get.
It was 8 minutes today.
Yeah, it gets over the top.
The reason I like it is because I went up to Arsenal versus Bournemouth last season. Do you remember when Reece Nelson scored that screamer in the last second?
He come on as a sub, didn't
he? Yeah. That game, who was it? Bournemouth went 1-0 up before I'd even sat in my seat. I think it was 9 seconds.
It was
9
quick.
seconds. They were 1-0 up, right? I've never seen a goalkeeper waste time so much, honestly. And they do it because referees won't book them until the 70th, 80th minute. Yeah. And then they can't. Then there's not enough time to give them a second one.
No one's ever given a keeper 2 yellow cards for time wasting.
Exactly. They should start doing that.
Exactly. Yeah. Well,
they should.
It's either do that or do what they're doing now. And if they waste time, all right, we'll add 8 minutes on at the end, and you've wasted time for nothing.
They did that last season, didn't they? Against Liverpool against Newcastle, when they were wasting so much time, and then come the end of the game, there was like 7 minutes added on, and then Liverpool scored in like the 96th minute.
When it was talking to Newcastle, they done it against us. When we played Newcastle, the ball was in play for 48 minutes.
It's a joke, isn't it?
Of the whole
90-minute game. So half the game.
Yeah, because they literally just kept booting it out. Honestly, and it was even watching it on telly. You're just like, you can see what they're doing, and I think they beat us.
Yeah, at that level, it's a bit. They don't really care too much if. How they play, so long as they get the win and get those points, they're happy because, like I say, it's more of a business.
Yeah.
Although a lot of the players are there because they're like, I love football, and their whole life has been football.
Most of it is business.
Yeah,
you're right.
A lot of it is to do with business, and it's like, right, we need those points because if we don't get those points, then the fans going to be unhappy, and if the fans are going to be unhappy, they're not going to come, and we're not going to get the money, and it all spirals. And
100%.
So I think. Although sometimes football can be very boring, it becomes just an objective of get those 3 points.
Yeah, do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
What have you got written down?
What we were talking about before, like we started, like where we started out and stuff like that. Like I started with Ramsgate very young. I started in the Mush League, which is I think now called the Kent League. At under 18s. I was playing for Trinity for a long time leading up.
I went from Trinity to Ramsgate Mush.
Yeah, so I think because Trinity actually merged with Ramsgate, or they haven't merged with Ramsgate now. I don't know when it happened, but they become.
I think it was a few years ago. Wasn't it?
Yeah.
So they've taken over. They had the Garlinge pitches, Dane Park as well.
Opposite the Lanthorn.
So we played for the Mush side of Ramsgate. We played Bay Point. Over by Sandwich.
I was on about Trinity. When I played for Trinity, there's a pitch bang opposite front door of Lanthorn. Yeah.
Thanet Wanderers. Yeah, just off of the rugby club.
Next to the car park. That was my pitch for Trinity.
Yeah. No, I think we played at Bay Point for Trinity. I played at Bay Point for Trinity as well, and we just kept that for Ramsgate Mush because they were just really good pitches.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're like now, but
Pfizer, Bay Point. I coach under 9's Bay Point, and the pitches are brilliant.
Yeah, they're nice.
They're so good.
They're always really good when we played.
They still are.
Yeah. So at 18, and that's where I sort of moved from Ramsgate Mush to the first team. But I think our first year in the Mush League, we actually played up a year to prepare. Because our Trinity side, we was really good, like top of the Division 1, like winning pretty much every single game, and had a really strong squad with like players that have actually like James Brown. He now plays professionally and he's featured for Malta internationally.
He was at Millwall.
He was at Millwall, yeah.
For a long time. So first team as well.
I think he plays in the Scottish League now.
I watched him in one of the games.
I can't remember. I think he plays professionally still.
Yeah.
But we had a team that, and like say Harris Rodders, he went off. He went and played at Millwall and at an academy level. We had a lot of academy players. And then we moved into the Mush League for Ramsgate, and from then on, like I say, my history's been.
How many of them Mush players play for Ramsgate now, or play at a decent level?
Not many.
I asked that because my Mush team, we won the Mush League.
Yeah.
I think the only one that sort of went anywhere was Aaron Milbank.
Yeah, he plays. He's over at Deal now.
Right, yeah.
He was with us. Oh, well, I don't know. Were you there? He was with me at Ramsgate.
Although
when
he
I was there
actually,
last time.
saying that, he didn't really play. He didn't even really play for us. So
Because he was at Gillingham.
he was at Gillingham, yeah, exactly. So no, none of us play for anyone
No.
anymore. It's mad.
Yeah, because
And we had a decent team to win that Mush League.
he had a terrible knee injury.
Yeah.
And had quite a bit of time off, I think. Then
Where's he now? At Deal,
At Deal, yeah. He's playing at Deal now. Because he was at Whitstable for a bit.
That's
and, yeah, now he's over at Deal now with a few of the old Ramsgate boys, like Tom Chapman.
Was he not at Rams? Was Joe Taylor at Ramsgate a few years ago, wasn't he? Joe Taylor played for Ramsgate.
He was at Margate.
He was at Margate with me,
He
yeah.
was at Margate,
Was he?
wasn't he?
Yeah.
So
he never played
I think
for
he went to Margate from Folkestone.
Yeah, he played for Ramsgate a long time ago.
Yeah.
He was there when we were 16.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I don't know how long for.
I don't know if he went to Folkestone from Ramsgate or not, but he was at.
He was at Whitstable. Did he go to Whitstable as well?
I think so. Maybe at one point because of Blackie. Lloyd Blackman was the manager at Whitstable, obviously, who was our manager at Ramsgate.
Oh, right.
Well, he was a coach. Same sort of thing, filled in as in the managerial role when the managers went otherwise. But
Yeah.
He's with you now. That's the main thing, isn't it?
it don't matter where it is.
He's back around.
Was you well happy when you found out that news?
Yeah. So it's another lad in the squad that likes to play a bit of golf. So
Oh, really?
Is that it? Just golf, not football.
that makes the golf days nice and busy.
You know, golf, football, Ramsgate. No, we'll edit that out.
No, it is. He was at Folkestone, Margate, like I said, I think Whitstable as well. But like I say, ultimately, he sort of come back to Ramsgate. But that's like, it's not people having to come back down to this level. It's people being like,
They want to.
They're enticed to almost because.
Well, because that green comes from Gillingham, didn't it?
Yeah.
Like, that's quite a big drop, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You don't know what the story is behind that or anything.
But you
like
don't
that.
care because you got him.
No,
Yeah,
it doesn't
exactly.
matter.
But the club is moving in the right direction. There's a lot of good things happening.
It's attracting the right kind of people.
Clearly.
That's the thing.
What I was surprised that Ben said is, you haven't bought anyone.
No.
They've all just signed. Like, that's
Yeah.
crazy, isn't it?
Like people have
That's
out
bad.
contracts. They've got the choices to go wherever they want.
Yeah.
They're not bound to anyone and they're choosing Ramsgate.
You've brought in good players for free.
Are you all
Which is
under
always good.
contract? Are all Ramsgate players under contract?
I'd say 80% of the squad is.
Yeah.
So this is just a couple of questions I wanted to ask. And like, obviously, Sunday League pub league football. Are you allowed to play that?
Contractually, no. If you're under contract, then no.
Okay.
I think actually saying that, I think if you're part of the FA,
Because you did,
so
didn't you?
You can't.
No.
Did you not?
I have.
A few years ago, was it you?
Yeah.
What, for Cramptons?
Kings.
Who played for Cramptons? Did you play for Cramptons at one point?
I've never
No.
played.
Oh, okay.
See, Joe Taylor used to play Sunday League.
Yes. Yeah, a little bit.
Imperial, probably, I think.
You grass.
Sure.
It's come on, I don't know.
You start, well, we didn't do it last year, but I used to do a lot of like 6-side little tournaments with Joe, and he does it with his mates who are part of the Imperial.
Okay.
So that's why I just know he's got connected, like linked
Yeah.
there.
That's how I met Joe. That's how I know him.
Yeah, we did a lot of them at Margate's, the little pitches.
Yeah.
We did a lot of those tournaments there.
I played with, well, they're not Dolphin Kings anymore, but Kings.
Yeah.
All them lot. I played with them a few times because I've got a few friends that play in that team, so that's how I got introduced to it. They asked me to come play. This was before I was at Ramsgate.
Yeah.
This was
Deal.
yeah, I think with Deal, but I wasn't under contract.
No.
So yeah, it's a bit different. If you're under contract, then
Yeah, I thought
Ben's the
Can't,
first
yeah.
Ramsgate manager to be in contract, isn't he?
is it?
Yeah. I've been told that he's the first ever
No,
manager
no,
at Ramsgate to have a contract.
I didn't know.
I don't know how true that
I
is,
think
but-
I know that. I think Coyley asked for a contract, but then
Yeah, that
obviously
was the
Ollie
end of the
decided
season,
to resign
Yeah.
for his own reasons, whatever that may be. Yeah, I just always assumed that a manager would be under contract.
No,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's the first ever Ramsgate manager to be under
I think he
contract.
mentioned that, didn't he? Did
I
he
think I
mention
might have mentioned it, and I think he might have
Sorry?
confirmed it.
it? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. But anyway, we'll stop there. Thanks for coming on, and
Thanks for having us.
Cheers, boys.
No, yeah,
Thank
thank you.
you.